Hello YouTube, Sam here from youtube.com/onlivegamer for the new Boston, and in this tutorial we're going to be talking about the exit try statement, and if we have time we'll also be talking about the throw keyword. So what the exit try statement does is it's basically like any other exit statement, like exit sub, exit for, or exit do. All of those will exit the current statement that it's in. So let's say we'll go ahead and type if index is greater than or equal to, let's say, my array dot length, and I think it's -1. So if it's greater than or equal to my array dot length -1, what do we want to do? We want to exit the try. So let's go ahead and run this. And if we did this right, it's going to exit the try before it prints 1. I was hoping it would exit after it prints 1, but you still get the idea of what it does. It will just exit the statement, and it will go past this catch statement right here. It will not see this, and it will go to the line of code that is right below it. So it goes below the end try and runs whatever code is right there. Now, exit try is a very simple concept, just like any other exit keyword. So what we're going to talk about now is throwing exceptions. So we'll just type if index is greater than or equal to my array dot length. What do we want to do? We want to throw, and you can see here that the description says throws an exception within a procedure so that you can handle it with structured or unstructured exception handling code. So this will just throw the exception before the exception actually happens. So if an exception is about to happen, let's just throw one right here, and we'll handle it down here in the catch statement. So we want to create a new exception, and we will throw an index out of range exception. And for our parameters, we can add a message. So we'll just say okay, so we're going to throw a new index out of range exception, and it's going to say, you retard, don't try to access memory that isn't there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to catch that exception. So we'll type index out of range exception, and for our code we will just show that in there. So ex dot, and what we're going to do, instead of toString, we're going to get the message for that. So it's going to show our message that we typed in right here. So let's go ahead and run this. You can see that when we click add all, it says, you retard, don't try to access memory that isn't there. Now the message will not show up if we just do ex.toString. So we'll go ahead and run this, and it's going to give us the same stuff that we did last time. And it looks like it did show up. It says system.index out of range exception, you retard, don't try to access memory that isn't there. So it gives us the type of exception, whatever message that is thrown with that exception, and then it shows us all the information about it. Sorry, I thought that wasn't going to be there, but it was. So if you do toString, it's going to show you the information and the message. Now it's better coding to just show the message to the user, so that they don't have to see all of that stuff right there that they most likely will not understand. Now, sometimes what you can also do is throw exceptions just to get yourself out of some code. I wouldn't really recommend this, but sometimes it is a valid way to get out of code. So let's say you're doing an operation, and if something happens in that operation, you want to throw a new exception, and you just catch that exception right here and just leave that blank. And what it's going to do is going to exit whatever operation you're doing right there, and then come down and start at this line of code. Now you can also have multiple catch statements when you're throwing new exceptions. And you can throw exceptions anywhere you want in your program, but just keep in mind that it's going to make your program crash. So let's say we'll go ahead down here and we'll throw new exception, and for the message we'll type, "Hi, I am an exception." So for this to actually show up, what we're going to have to do is right click on try catch and click build. So we're going to need to run the debug, not the debug, we're going to run the release. So if you head over to your Visual Studio 2010 project folder right here, so we got libraries, documents, Visual Studio 2010 projects. Here's our try catch project. If you go to the project and then you go to bin release, you'll see your program right here. Go ahead and open that up, and this is the release form of your program. It doesn't offer any debugging capabilities. So if we go ahead and click add all, it says an unhandled exception has occurred. Now this is built into Visual Basic, and it handles exceptions for you so that the user can either continue past the exception or quit. And you can see that the message right here says, "Hi, I am an exception," and that's the message that we sent to it when we threw that exception. So we can just go ahead and click continue because nothing bad is going to happen. And we can go ahead and close out of this. So go ahead and practice with the exit try statement. You can also practice throwing exceptions in your program or in your try statement. And once you're familiar with that and you're not going to forget it, go ahead and move on to the next tutorial.